We're old, Jay.
Bull, I'm old, and I'm gonna admit it. I've watched you fight. You are a grown-ass man in the ring. You walked in here, and I thought, man, he's got a younger brother that looks just like him. You look
20.
like a baby.
He's 20.
I know, but when I watch him fight, I obviously I think this kid is young, but when you see him in street clothes and no gloves and not destroying other grown men, it's stunning to me how young he presents.
Hey, listen. Hey, get a camera. I like this. Listen, shout out to the entourage came in here.
You're real when the entourage comes in here.
All dressed in all black, playing no games. I thought this was Rollo. I said, Van Boone in here. They're not playing with nobody.
All black,
everything. Let's roll. I like it, man. Hey, welcome to the show, man.
I have to start with your last fight.
Yeah.
It was billed as, like, you've already had a coming out party. Yeah. But this was like prospect of the year coming out party. And then you did what you did.
Yeah.
What does it feel like to be the best young fighter in the game?
I feel blessed, I'm grateful, but it feels like work. When you at that level, at this age, it's work. You can't get ahead of yourself. You gotta make sure you keep growing.
How old were you when you first knew you wanted to do this?
When I say I got actual serious about it, I would say I was about 12, 13. Once my brothers all, joined into it with me, I was like, yeah, I could really do this.
When did you know? Was there a moment early? I can't imagine 12 years old.
I can't.
But was there a moment early where you were like, not only am I into this, but I might be really good? Like, remember that moment?
I kind of do. It was a time where we kind of stepped up our training a little bit, and gradually I just seen myself getting better and better, and I vision myself like years down the line, like what would I look like, in 5-6 years from now. And I was around 12, 13 at the time, and I'm seeing myself, my skill set being through the roof. When you're an athlete, you know that when you put in those hours and you constantly in the gym training, you're gonna get better. So me being younger, I knew that if I would have stuck to it for as long as I'm in it with my brothers alongside me, that I would be where I am.
What's the hierarchy here? Who's the youngest?
I'm the second youngest.
You're the second youngest. So you took some ass whoopings when you were little. Listen, I can say that. I was a younger brother, and I wrestled. Yeah. I had a younger brother, older brother, and all those ass whoopings I took, I gave.
Yeah.
So talk about how really you say 12 or 13, but you've been bred for this. This is your whole life, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't say I was the one, getting whooped, but my brothers.
Oh, there was a point where you were getting whooped.
Well, they taught me how to do the whooping.
You've got some good older brothers.
Yeah, for sure. We're close. We've always been close. My father, he raised us, in the same house, and we always moved around together, traveled together. We know the same group of people, So we grew up close. No big commotion in our house.
Let me ask you this question. You 12. You got it. You're 12 years old. Most people playing video games at 12 and 13 and 14. If you want to get somewhere, you got to be dedicated to it. Tell the people. Like, when you training, what does your day look like from when you wake up to when you go to bed? Like, what is involved in that to get to the level you at right now?
One thing I can say about boxing, it's not always just the physical aspect. Boxing is 90% mental. So you mentally, you gotta be so focused. You could be all the way in shape, and one little hiccup in the game plan, and the whole thing is thrown off. So I'll say the mental part is mainly what we hone in on. But we always wake up, we hit the gym, we make sure we reading, our Islamic books and, just different stuff. Me and different people taking calls. But every day we get in the gym, we make sure before we get in the gym, we know what we know the mindset.
What time does that start?
It varies. When you're in training camp, you're working out. Most of your day is making sure you getting in shape, and you mentally, you know what you're doing when you step in front of that opponent that you got ahead of you.
16-0, 14 knockouts. When is the title fight coming?
Man, Top Rank, they saying 2025 will be a big year, inshallah. So so that was my last 8-rounder. So the next fight I should be having early next year. That'll be a 10-rounder. And
scheduled for 10 rounds.
Scheduled for 10 rounds. Scheduled for 10
Last one was supposed to be 8 rounds too.
That was.
He didn't make it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, not a lot of my fights this year has went past about 3-4 rounds.
How many fights would you like to have in 25?
25. I would say around 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, not the next one. 2 away, 3 away. Or are you thinking more toward the end of 25 for a title fight?
Possibly for sure. We inching closer and closer to those, the rankings and stuff. But with 10 rounds, I'll be a contender, and I'll be able to compete for those titles to get me to the world title. So hopefully soon, as soon as an opportunity presents itself, I'll be able to step in there and contend for a title, so we could get to that world title. But we want to make sure we have a main event here next year for sure.
Earl's got a question for you,
in
our
Cleveland for
producer.
sure.
Ahead,
Yeah,
Earl.
speaking of title fights, and Jay, you was on a panel when we had Showtime Sean Porter on.
Yeah.
Abdullah, we asked him about you, and he said that you have the potential to be twice as good as he ever was.
Which floored all of us, by the way.
Yeah. That's
Not that you're not going to be great, but he said twice as good.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's amazing. I just got to stay focused. That's one thing I do know. Hearing that everywhere is the one thing I do have to remember to do is stay focused, because it's easy to see the good that you're doing, but especially when that's what everything that they see, everything you're doing, everything you're putting out is great results every time you step in there. So I got to remind myself that it's more behind that. I got to get
What are
better.
the pitfalls? What are the things that could derail you? Because they're out there.
Just being complacent. Just being complacent and switching things up. A lot of people, they get to a certain point and they start doing things differently. Instead of doing it better, doing more of the good that they do, they switch it up. They do differently. They bring different stuff in. They want to switch up the whole game plan. But really, you just got to hone in on what works. So right now, me and my family, what we doing, it works. And I've seen that through how far I've gotten now. So the game plan. Just,
Trust the process.
Yeah, trust the process.
How does
There we go.
being from Cleveland influence you? Or how important is it for you, I should say, to represent Cleveland when you're out there?
Oh man, that's super important. Cleveland's home, and they've embraced us since we was younger. Me and my brothers, we was on the street hustling incense, selling incense. My father had a shop, selling fragrances. He still sells them, but people seen us grow up. We was out there, and I got a few comments on my post. Like, I remember seeing him on 116th selling hustling incense. I bought some incense from him some years back, so I seen that comment. I'm like, yeah, I like that. Seeing that support, it just lets me know to keep going. For Cleveland, they seen us grow up, so they looking for us to go far. But we want to take it all the way.
Cleveland embraces its athletes, I think, especially the guys that are from here.
Oh yeah.
No, for
As
sure.
much, if not more, than any city
Yeah.
in the
Hell,
America.
even guys that aren't from here. Like, look,
Yeah.
we got a love
Right.
affair going with Jameis this year.
Sure, but
we had a
like-
love affair going with the Baltimore Raven last year.
But there's nothing like the guys that are from.
Oh,
here.
yeah, it's
It
it's
just
another
means
level.
More to the people.
I mean, you
here.
see how they support the Browns. You got
Yeah.
the Browns.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it hurt my heart.
Everybody- Right.
It hurt me. And I
Right.
He
That's what I'm
tries
saying,
to quit him every
I
Sunday.
every Sunday I come on here and be like, I ain't doing it no more.
Who's next for you? Who do you want? Like, throw a name out there.
Whoever they throw in front of me,
Wow.
Whoever they throw in front of me, we hitting those 10 rounds, and each step up, you got to make sure you show out. And when you show out, that opportunity presents itself. So.
Oh well, you got top with I got to get you top 5. Like, what I'm saying? Who like when you was growing up, who's your top 5? And then Tank Davis is one of them dudes. Like, is that something that's on your radar?
Anyone in my weight class, that's a possible matchup, that I'm looking forward to. So I'm at 135 right now, and the top of the division. That's the goal. So anybody that's holding the title, we looking to get there.
What are you projecting at? Like, I'm looking. Dad's thick. You got some thick brothers. Like, you're not staying at 135. You still have your. I mean, it doesn't look like it from those pictures, but you haven't got your man body yet.
Right.
When those shoulders pop and that chest grows, where are you going to end up?
I'm not sure yet. Right now, I'm still comfortable, making 135. It hasn't taken a toll on anything yet. So I'm just comfortable where I am, because we're constantly, we training, we working, we make sure we getting better as we go. So as soon as I feel like it's time to move up, I'm gonna be moving up. But right now it's 135.
Your trunks are really cool. Tell us the backstory about those, if you can.
What's funny is those trunks, the whole design actually comes from my older brother, Amir.
Okay.
Yeah, he sent, Amir right there. He's professional too. But every time I get in there, I'm like, man, what should I do next? And but he has, I say, most of the input designer wise. Him and my father.
That's cool.
But that whole design pretty much came from my brother Amir.
That's awesome.
What's the recovery like post-fight? When you wake up the next day, do you feel like you were in a fight, you were in a car accident, or do you feel like you're good and you're ready to go again?
No, I feel good. I did have one fight where I was like,
he's 20.
Yeah, I know, right? I wake up now and feel
Any
like
of
I'm
us
in a
get
car
hit like that one time, we're out for a week.
He's like, I don't get hit. What are you talking about?
We didn't look like that at 20.
But go ahead. I'm curious. How do you feel when you wake up?
No, I feel good. Sometimes my body's a little sore, like I just worked out. But I did have one fight where I'm like, man, that was a little extensive. But that was an earlier fight on. But I would say as I got used to the pros, we just trained for it a little bit better, inside of the gym. So we don't really take any punishment to where I get out the ring. I'm like, man, that hurt. I don't want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm curious. What did you think of the Tyson-Jake Paul fight?
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Let's not call it a fight. For starters.
I mean,
is it frustrating?
It was a fundraiser for both of them.
I would say it was frustrating when it built up, but you don't really know exactly what goes on when you're in their position. I would say when you're in Tyson's position and Jake Paul's position, you don't know exactly what goes on. You're not in their shoes, so you can't really judge everything based off of what you've seen on the outside.
Mike
So
Tyson, man.
let's do some word association. I'm gonna throw a boxer's name out. You tell me the first thing that come to mind. Money Mayweather.
Oh, smart.
All right. Roy Jones Jr.
Elusive.
All right. Sugar Shane.
Sharp.
Golden Boy.
I don't know.
He's so young, bro. He hasn't
Yeah.
even seen some of these dudes fight.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite boxer when you were a kid?
No, I didn't. We didn't really used to watch boxing.
That's crazy.
How did this become your life then?
So my dad, he always had my older brothers in the combat sports and mixed martial arts and things of that nature. But I would say they always came back and taught it to us when it came back to the house and stuff like that. So we did some traveling overseas and we came back. There was a gym around the corner from where we lived, and my father, he was asking all of us who actually wanted to get into it, and I was the first brother to actually show interest. So once we got into the gym, they all just followed behind me, So once they all got serious, he was like, yeah, this is what we doing.
Let's say you rise to the level where, and I think it's coming. I don't think Porter's off. You rise to the level where you start dictating terms.
Yeah.
How long before you demand a fight at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse?
The demand is definitely growing for the people. I see that that's what they want, but I want to have my first main event here before I start doing anything. I want to at least be able to have a fight here for all my the people to come see. So once we had that first fight, we'll know how many people that's going to come out to support Abdullah Mason, and once hopefully we sell that out, I'm gonna say let me get to the Rocket Mortgage. I want to fight there with all my brothers behind me.
Will you train differently going from 8 rounds to 10 rounds? Does that change your training at all?
Like I said, it's not for us. It's not really a physical aspect. It's mostly mental. So I'm ready for 10 rounds. I'm ready to step in there and go 10 rounds. I could bang out 10 rounds. In the next few weeks. But it's mostly mental. And I'm gonna be ready for sure.
They talked. I watched the Tyson thing like everybody else. I got fooled. Tyson, even though I think it's come out now that they had some sort of an agreement. They weren't trying to knock each other out. They were just trying to get paid. I saw that Tyson still looked afraid to me. And look, it's natural. Do you have any fear at all when you step into a ring? And does it go away after you get hit the first time? Or because I've had fighters tell me, hell yeah, you're afraid. You're against a trained killer. But it can't stop you. It has to motivate you. Do you have any fear when you're in the ring?
when I step into the ring, as soon as the bell rings, everything else kind of like goes away, you know. So once from there, it's kind of like, in a sense, it's like an autopilot type thing. You know, I know I got to listen to my corner. I know I got to do what I trained on, and I know the game plan. So I'm gonna just have fun while I'm, you know, putting all that together. You know, so I would say once that bell rings, all of it goes out the window.
So you let me get to, for a novice like myself.
Yeah.
So you saying, like, when you get in there and you throw in your hands, it's almost like you actually witness. You're not part of it. It's on autopilot. Like, you know what you want to do, but it's like your hands are automatically doing what they do because you train so much.
I would say it's kind of like everything is kind of like on replay. You know, we train in the gym for so long. You do 8 to 10 weeks in training camp. So when you step in the ring, everything you worked on, you just doing it on the opponent. So you mixing it up, but you got, you know, different things that feels different, and you got to implement your own adjustments. But it's kind of, it gets fun when you're in there. It gets fun.
When you prepare for a fighter, do you, like, what a football team will watch film on a specific opponent? How much of that do you do? Like, and how much do you change your game plan based on the other fighter, if at all?
You definitely got to watch film, and we've been watching more film as we go, you know, moving up the ranks. But you have to do it. You know, it's something you have to do. You have to know your opponent. You have to know what he does, the good things, the bad things. But boxing, it's a whole different world when you step in there. It's like you stepping into something completely different from just daily life. You know, the mindset is just you have to be honed in on it.
Earl, you got something?
Your last fight, I think a lot of people are used to seeing you just drop dudes quickly. And I think that was the first time that I can remember seeing you fight to where you actually got knocked down. Talk about that. You know, just people seeing you get knocked down, people kind of going like, whoa. And then you kind of just persevere through it, and then you end the fight real quick. What was that like?
Man, it was once the first one happened, it was everything, like the whole fight sped up. Like everything that I worked on, it's like I just did it naturally, you know. So that's how much you gotta, you know, be into it, you know, in the gym. You gotta think about these things. You know, what will happen if this happened? You know, what will happen if, you know, this or that? You gotta work on different stuff when you're in the gym, so you could be prepared for those moments. So when I stepped in there and that first, you know, that knockdown happened, that was the first time I've ever, you know, that's ever happened in the
Any
gym.
level?
Any level.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't even plan for that, can you? Like, you can't.
What about
plan.
sparring?
Yeah,
Have you been knocked off?
No, I haven't.
That was the first time
That was the
ever.
first time.
Wow.
That was
Oh,
the first
damn.
time. Yeah. So everything kind of sped up, you know, as far as like, you know, just the whole fight just happening so quickly. But wow, I would say it was something that was a good thing in the end. You know, when the fight first ended, you know, I thought of it as something that was like very unfortunate, but I see how good it was. You know, it's something that'd take me to mentally. I know that it's something that I needed to make sure I stay focused. You know, I know I'm already focused, but
It's a wake-up call.
it's a wake-up call.
You're number
in
3
every
on
sense.
ESPN's top 25 under 25.
Yeah.
And I think you're the front runner. Is he the
Is that
front
all
runner?
divisions combined?
Yes.
Right.
Right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
he's the front runner for Prospect of the Year, correct? How important is that to you that you get that title? Because that comes with a lot of attention and a lot of future billing.
We've been putting in our work, and you know, we want to see, you know, we want to see it show, and we know that they've been watching us, so we just gonna continue to put in our work, you know, regardless of what they say they see, but we want that.
Did you play other sports?
No, I didn't.
Man, you'd make a hell of a cornerback. Like with his length and your athleticism, holy cow.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to other young kids, you know, 12-year-old, the 12-year-old watching right now, 13-year-old, that may be thinking, wow, this is never going to happen for me. I can't do it. What would your advice be to them?
I would say One thing I would say is probably just focus on the good and make sure that you look towards doing more of that, you know. Focus on, you know, the good things, you know, that you have, and focus on doing more of that, or implement more of that, or bringing more of that into your life.
You got all your brothers block box, right?
Yeah.
Let me know each one of them and what part of their game you like best. Like, you know what I'm saying, from their boxing game.
So the youngest, Ibrahim,
How old?
he's 18.
Okay.
He's 18.
He's on deck.
Yeah.
What-
I would say his speed.
Okay.
I would say one thing that he has, that I also have, is speed. But whenever we're moving around with each other, I say, like, man, like, I think you might be faster than me. Whenever, you know, like 2 years ago, like when I was 18, he might be a little quicker than I was, you know.
Wow.
But I would say his speed for Ibrahim. For the one that's not here, the one that's right over me, Abdullah, he's man, it's funny.
You better
guys.
say
It's kinda
something. He's
hard.
going to be mad.
Right.
Like, you took too long, dog. I'm serious.
About to step in the ring and show you
I thought
something.
we was better than that. You got to his quick. Like, I just.
I would say he doesn't really show anything. Like, he just steps in the ring and it's just he does what he's there for. You know, he doesn't really show. Like,
So he's about business.
Yeah, he's about business. I would
Okay.
say he's not like real excited, or he's not upset. You hit him, he's got the same expression.
Your guys, I mean,
going.
first of all, great looking crew, Pops. But you guys don't smile. This is like the most serious
business.
group of folks I have ever seen in my life. You smile, but your brothers are back there like, no, none. Is it always that serious?
No, no, it's not. It's not. You know,
Ibrahim's got some smiles to him. I can see that.
Hey,
Now
look.
wait, now how old are you? 25. God,
Yeah.
you guys all look so young.
Black don't crack, Jay.
We're old.
No,
Jay.
I know it, but I mean, just
We're
look,
old.
these guys are just so
We just
young
on, man.
looking.
Stop.
You guys don't look like boxers. Like boxers get hit. Boxers, they don't look good after time in the sport.
Hey, man, you know, hey, listen, hey, I like it. They all about business. They keep the close. They don't know us.
No.
They keep that circle close. I like that. It's all business, man. But no, like, you know, I'll say this, man. It's just great to see, you know, a father have his kids out and taking care of his family and being so close circle. But I got two other brothers, and Jay and these guys know I bring my mom and dad everywhere with me. We be at events together. And that's the best thing in the world, because just a lot of times they don't get to see that level. There's a stigma around the black community that say, you know, we don't got no leadership, but it's a beautiful thing to see your black man together as a family unit and doing it as a family and training as a family and doing things like that. So I commend y'all for how y'all hold it down.
Well done.
Thank
Very
you.
well done.
Thank you.
And good luck to you. We'll be rooting for you.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
we want ringside media passes when that first fight happens.
Oh, we're gonna work on that.
I want to see that up close and personal. And also know this, like, we've adopted you now. You're ours, okay?
Yeah,
No, for sure.
So what excites me is 5 years from now, probably not even that long, but I love looking back at I watched one yesterday. It came across my timeline of an old Customato interview with Mike Tyson. And I all I could think of is when Mike Tyson was doing this interview, he was nobody, on no one's radar. Yeah. He had really just come into the gym for the first time. And Cuss was talking about this man like, yeah, he's going to change the world. No one knows it yet. Yeah. And it's cool to see those interviews 5 years later. So when you're champ of the world, this will pop up all over as people are searching to find out, well, who the hell is this kid? Yeah. And so you've had other coming out parties, and ESPN has done a nice job, I think, hitching their wagon to you. They know where the money's good. But we've adopted you, so you're part of our family now too. The whole Mason family. Yeah. So that means we will hype your fights. We expect pre-show interviews to help hype your fights.
Demanding, Jay.
We want Now this comes with there's some good things too.
You sound like the White Don King.
There's some good things too. Okay?
I got to have 35%.
We're gonna we're going to give you free Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show gear. And if you decide to cut one up and come into the ring with that, it's up to you. It's up to you. Well, I'm talking NIL deal here.
I think they're straight. They are.
We got to get one more.
I love this kid.
We got to get one more read in. We're going to have the entire Mason family staff. We got Zach here. We're going to get some pictures in.
Oh, good, good.
We got some new swag upstairs, so we going to get some T-shirts for everybody in the family.
Outfit him up.
Yeah, we're going to go get everybody.
We have anything with tassels on it?
One last thing before I do this last read. We do these super chats, and then we just kick it for a minute. G, me and Abdullah, we got a growing relationship. Go get another pair of J's I can't get. Watch what's going on.
One thing I do want to say is I want everybody watching this interview, I want y'all to share this interview. You know, share it to everybody. When I have that main event here, we want everybody to show up and, you know, and support. You know,
we gonna pack that thing out.
Yeah, we gonna pack that thing out.
Yep.